So you know the AQ series has always been the best travel companion. This time, let's try out the new version, the Leica Q3 43, and see how it performs on a yacht trip in Japan. A lot of people love coming to Japan, and why is that? Road trips, driving around, enjoying the scenery, trying different foods, and of course, taking photos. This is a must. So this time, let's try out this Leica Q3 43 camera together. When it comes to landscape photography, is it sometimes not wide enough? How should we make up for that? And how does it perform in general shooting situations? And when your other half goes shopping or to the mall, what do we do then? Well, we have our own plans. So a lot of the time, you can just wander around and capture all the little moments, which is actually quite fun and enjoyable, especially with this camera. I've been shooting with it for almost 5 days now, and my overall impression is that it captures things in such fine detail, and when you look back at your photos, everything feels magnified. There are so many little details from the trip that you only notice when you get home and look at the pictures. There are lots of places perfect for road trips. One of the attractions, for example, is the Akina Mountain from manga, but its real name is actually Mount Kunming, and here there's also Chunming Lake, which is where Natsuki and Takumi rowed the boat together. By the way, a lot of friends who watch our videos actually haven't subscribed to our channel yet, so remember to subscribe to our channel and also select all notifications. So whenever we upload a new video, you'll be notified right away and won't miss any of our exciting content. All right. Hello everyone, I'm Frankie from M&K Kamera. Time really flies, doesn't it? The 9-day travel holiday has already passed. So here, I'm going to share my thoughts after using the Leica Q3 and Q4. Actually, the Leica Q series has been around for quite a while, but all along, whether it's the Q1, Q2, or Q3, the previous versions have all used the same lens, a 28mm f1.7 lens with ASPH optical design. Maybe for the past 3 generations, it used a wide-angle lens, so when it came to Leica's close-up capabilities, it wasn't that remarkable. But after switching to this 43mm lens, the experience, it's completely different. The subject really stands out. Combined with the APO optical design, the sense of presence is extremely strong, achieving results beyond imagination, especially when paired with a 60-megapixel sensor. In fact, it's the same as what you get with the SL3 and the M11. This is more than enough for most needs. When necessary, you can crop a large area and still retain a very high resolution. Especially when shooting wide landscapes, this 60-megapixel sensor really shows its power. Often, it's only when you get home and view the images on your computer at full size that you realize just how much detail there is. As for this Leica Q, it's actually very lightweight. The total weight, including the battery, is only 770 grams, so you can easily carry it with you all the time. You really don't feel like it's a burden at all. Plus, it comes with a convenient Type-C charging port, so as long as you carry a power bank with you, you can easily charge it outdoors. For example, when I'm on a road trip, I can charge it in the car using the Type-C port, which is even more convenient, even if you're not charging it. After using it for so many days, the most I've ever used is about 70% of the battery, which means there's still 30% left. And that's under the most power-consuming situation, like shooting videos. I believe that for most people, if you don't shoot videos that often, the battery life will be even better. For a typical day of shooting, I usually only use up to 50% of the battery. So in this situation, there's really no need to worry about saving power. On previous trips, basically just one camera plus 3 lenses. Compared to that setup, this time it's much more relaxed. With a 43mm lens, the subjects you shoot are relatively tighter, but sometimes you can capture from different angles and take a few more shots. Of course, there are some situations where it might not be wide enough, but with today's technology, it's actually very simple. For example, in Lightroom or Photoshop, there are photo stitching features. As long as you select a few photos, then with just the press of a button, you can basically get it done. But if you want to shoot something dynamic and also need a wide angle, that might be a bit difficult. Now, traveling is a wonderful experience, especially when you go to faraway places like Paris, London, Milan, Iceland, or even New York and San Francisco in America. Honestly, it takes more than 10 hours on a plane to get to these places. So of course you want to bring something back, but after a few years, what happens? Actually, there really isn't much left, is there? A lot of the things you bought before, you probably don't even know where they've gone. What remains is just a memory, but even memories as time goes by become blurry, right? In the end, all that's left are some photos. That's why a good camera is a must. The Leica Q3, for example, is truly a great choice. The photos it takes are incredibly lifelike. Take me as an example. I just went on a trip only about a week or so ago, and when I look back at those photos, I still feel very nostalgic. So it makes me want to start planning my next trip. I still remember my wife showed some of the photos to her close friends, and after they saw them, they said, "Wow." They said, "Oh, I can't take it, I'm so hungry, your food photos are just too tempting." This really shows how realistic this camera is. It's honestly amazing. But as for this camera, does it have any drawbacks? I think it does, especially when it's really sunny outdoors. Sometimes when you're shooting and need to flip the screen, the sunlight reflects off it and makes it really hard to see. In these situations, you can only use the viewfinder to solve the problem. So that's something to keep in mind. It's also harder to shoot from low angles. Another issue is with the autofocus. From my previous experience, I actually wasn't mistaken. The autofocus can sometimes be a bit off, and occasionally it misses focus. But if it does focus correctly, the sharpness is honestly incredible. Since we're talking about this, why don't we take a look together at the photos I took on this trip? So here, let me share with you some of the photos taken with the Leica Q3. There are actually a lot of photos, but I'll just talk about a few that left a deeper impression on me. For example, this one was taken at a glass art museum. These little pig figurines are really tiny and cute, so I used a close-up shot. The sense of depth is very strong, and the color reproduction is also excellent. Even some simple displays look really beautiful. When photographing this candle and its flame, the texture is also very pronounced and the atmosphere is really nice. Among them, there are also these colorful lampshades. This shot is particularly special. I think the colors and the mood are beautiful, so I took a photo here. Then when I walked to the end of the corridor, I took another shot and it turned out just as stunning. There was also a visit to the Automobile Museum, where there were all sorts of vintage cars in a variety of colors. The model cars on display were also photographed really well, and the sense of depth was very strong. After that, we went to the Taliban Museum, where there were lots of Taliban figures. Looking further in, there were many Totoro figures, and here there was a girl taking photos with one of the dolls. You can see that the lighting just happened to shine on her, illuminating her face perfectly. The atmosphere of the place was really great, and I managed to capture it just right. Actually, if I were shooting manually, I might not have been able to catch the moment in time, so the automatic lens really helped here. This is actually a three-dimensional model, but from this angle, the photo looks just like a movie still. I really think it looks so cool. The sunlight shining on the plush toy gives it a warm and cozy feeling. This is another museum, and it feels just like being in Japan. It's like the old Kowloon walled city with all these ancient things on display. Old telephones, old cameras, old toys from years ago, all laid out here. There are also some other vintage cars. For Japan, some of these cars have commemorative value and they're displayed here too. So that's the museum part. There's also a castle. This castle is a place where people can get married or take photos. There are different outfits and some souvenirs because since it was Halloween, the place was also decorated with some Halloween ornaments. This is the castle I mentioned, and here you can play out a scene as a princess and prince. You can see this Japanese version of a little princess taking photos here. The weather that day was also really nice. I found this photo quite special. The foreground is very detailed with some intricate decorations. And at the entrance there's a bronze statue, and even the statue has an expressive look in its eyes, which is pretty cool. There are also some small decorations that might seem insignificant, but actually the level of detail is really impressive. So with 60 million pixels, it's definitely more than enough. Look at this vase. It's completely three-dimensional with gold edges and intricate patterns. It's so detailed and beautiful. Previously, when I was shooting with the regular Q3, I also took photos of some silver objects, and this one also captures those fine details really well. It doesn't just gloss over the details. Take a look at Akina Mountain. Actually, this place is one of the routes where Initial D was filmed. It's not exactly at Mount Akina, but they did use this location for some scenes. It's also famous for its winding roads with 9 bends and 13 turns. Of course, while I'm driving, I can't take photos, but once I reach a flat area, I can stop and take some pictures to capture those beautiful details. There are motorcycles and private cars here too. People come to cruise around. That day happened to be a weekend. There were hardly any parking spaces, and holding this torch-shaped ice cream while walking around felt especially nice. Actually, it was already getting cold in Japan. By October, eating ice cream in the chilly weather gives you a different kind of experience. So this is the road at Mount Akina, and if you keep going forward, you'll reach Lake Akina. Further down, there are hotels, hot spring hotels and such. One of the hotels I stayed at had a fountain, and when the lights shone on it, it looked really nice. It was really colorful and quite beautiful, with a strong sense of presence. Seeing it in person, it was really well done. These large forked structures were actually crafted very nicely. Look at the lanterns. See how they don't look overexposed? The details, the changes in light and shadow were all handled extremely well. So the funniest thing, right? Their vending machines, usually sell drinks or snacks, but this one, surprisingly, was selling something that looked like a dried fish or something. I'm not even sure what it was, but you could actually buy it. And then, by coincidence, there were fireworks going off nearby. Luckily, I made it in time to snap a few photos. Turns out, when I looked at the pictures later, I noticed that the smoke from the fireworks was actually tinted pink by the light, even more so than the fire itself. At the time, I didn't really pay attention, but looking back at the photos, I realized, wow, that's what happened. Even the smoke was tinted pink. This here is the hotel I stayed at. I think I was staying in this very room. They had lanterns hanging up there too, all colorful and beautiful. Actually, this was taken through a glass window, so there's a bit of reflection. And look at that moonlight, it's just unbeatable. You can see so many layers in the clouds. This is the view of the train station from my hotel room. At the time, it was actually really dark. The scene was just as it was in real life, and it was beautiful, like a movie set with all the lights on. This photo here, I really love it. I didn't expect it at all. It was just a coincidence, and it was pitch black. I could barely see anything. There was a couple, then a winding road, and outside there was a road sign, and above it some houses. It was just like a scene from a movie with the street lights and everything, and the light just happened to shine right in front of them. There was just that one pedestrian and no one else around. Wow, this photo is just amazing. Now let's talk about the city. This is a Prada building and it's glass. It's arched. You can really feel how the whole thing curves outward. There just happened to be a car there too, which really matched the environment. So I took a photo. Even really ordinary, simple scenes come out looking quite atmospheric. Look at the metallic texture here. It's captured beautifully. This is also a true-to-life shot of the scene, and it looks great. It was just about sunset at the time. With some side lighting hitting the back, it turns blue, and over here it's got this soft, gentle look that's really beautiful. Now this one is truly impressive. A plane and a bird in the same frame. That's pretty special. But I did crop quite a bit here because the original photo was actually pretty large. The one I have now is cropped, so it's actually quite a bit smaller. About 1,800 by 1,200 pixels because I just retrieved it. A plane and a bird, right? They appeared at the same time. Besides taking photos of people, which can be emotional, shooting animals or even some statues can actually turn out pretty well too. Maybe the atmosphere comes out nicely and the feeling you get is quite interesting. For this one, I also translated it. Turns out it's a mother dog taking care of 5 puppies. So in this shot, I managed to capture that and talk about it. At that time, they were almost euthanized, but later a volunteer organization helped them. And after that, they started helping people, kind of like Hong Kong's dog doctors, bringing happiness to patients. Because of that, it gives people hope in life. Look at this. The sense of depth is really good. It's strong. The light is shining right onto this fish. and the three-dimensional feeling really comes out. The whole fish looks like it's jumping out. I think this part really feels like Hong Kong. This is Minami Ohashi because you can see these two little wings on the bridge. This bridge is called something like Tsukiji something bridge, I'm not sure. From here you can see Tokyo Tower. Look at these flowers, they're really bright red. This is from Yoyogi Park. Wow, the texture of that rose red is really intense. It's such an exaggeratedly vivid red. There happened to be someone nearby, so I went over to ask if it was fragrant. As for autofocus, of course it's easy, just point and shoot. The sense of depth here is also really exaggerated. You look like you're popping out of the picture, almost as if you're under a spotlight. The three-dimensionality and texture are extremely strong. Previously, I've also taken photos of some silver and red lights, and even in these spots, it really doesn't get blown out. You can see the details. So this was just before leaving at the airport. The airport has been renovated and it does look nicer now. It was raining again on the arm, but at least it only started raining just as I was about to leave, so I was pretty lucky. I managed to capture a few raindrops on the glass. Then I took another shot of a Japan-Korea sign. Here I stopped down the aperture to 5.6. Otherwise, if I had used a wider aperture, the background would have been completely blurred and there'd be nothing to see. So this is the newly renovated Narita Airport. The atmosphere and lighting are both really well done. The black and white, the color and the contrast all look pretty good. Now looking back, these are the scenes from the suburbs, the grand mountains and vast landscapes. These are always stunning, you just can't go wrong. I took some shots under the leaves and the sunlight felt really strong. These scenes are truly beautiful. Then we walked across this suspension bridge. The two of us enjoyed some coffee there. We even saw some sheep. Honestly, any random shot looked great. We took the cable car up and down the mountain too. Now this is another set of shots from a different location. That day, it was actually quite sunny. What I remember most is capturing this car here. This is the car we rented. Normally, I'm not that interested in photographing cars like this, but this one, I thought, wow, it's so striking. Why are the contours of the fenders and the lines so pronounced? Usually, you wouldn't be able to capture such a three-dimensional look. It was so bright that I couldn't really see clearly at the time, but when I looked at the photos later, I realized, wow, the three-dimensional effect is really exaggerated. This photo, look, it's also really three-dimensional. The whole person just pops out. This is actually an old-style train station, and this Coca-Cola clock is really eye-catching. The guy in the empty suit stands out a lot. For this shot, I opened up the aperture to EF2 and got a bit closer to the wire fence. The wire fence is completely blurred out, so you can see straight through to what's inside. Nothing is blocking your view. That's why when people say that dust on the lens will show up in your photos, honestly, they just don't know what they're talking about. Even if there's a wire fence in front, you won't see it at all. Now, this Spider-Man, I really think he looks cool. Next to him, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but there are actually a lot of spiders there with spider webs all around. So, was there Spider-Man first or were there spiders first? I have no idea. This Spider-Man looks pretty good too, with the red and blue colors matching perfectly. And finally, I don't know if you've eaten yet, so let's take a look at some food. You can see here, this is just a casual close-up shot, but the subject really pops out. Wow. And with the light shining on it, you can really feel the bottle. You can really feel the roundness. Now this one here, well, it's been cropped a bit. Normally the full size is 9,000 something by 6,360, but this one's been cropped a little, so the bacon really stands out. The bacon is really prominent. Let's have a cup of coffee first. Yeah, this place went for a Japanese vibe. It doesn't look like a restaurant at all, even though it is one. From the outside, if you didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known. It's the kind of place you'd only find if you searched on Google. Look at how amazing this Omuris is. Now this is inside that restaurant. It's really old school, really classic. Then we went to another family-style bar which had a pretty good atmosphere. Here's another photo, just a boat, nothing much, brought everything back home. Let's have some tofu. Now, this one isn't food, but I have to mention it. This was taken in a restaurant. Looking up, there's a light bulb there. I just took a picture for fun, not sure if it actually captured the... Thinking about the settings, of course, I reduced the EV, but normally with such a strong light source, everything here would be completely blown out. There'd be nothing to see. The things on the sides would look really weird, even if you lower the EV value a lot. If you try to recover the details on the sides, what happens? The colors and everything else? It all turns out weird and unnatural, but this time that's not the case. You can actually see the text written on the light bulb. Let me zoom in a bit so everyone can have a look. Yeah, you can see it. The light bulb says made in China, 7.7 watts, 100 volts, and then it says Murong. So you might wonder, why are there so many Murong bulbs? Actually, we've been pronouncing it wrong. Even Google Translate doesn't get it quite right, just guessing. Who would have thought it would end up almost like Bruce Lee? Buy a whole set and it's all soup. Coming here for barbecue, wow, this photo is just unbeatable. Just taking a photo of it already looks absolutely stunning. It's totally like a poster. Wow, I don't even know what to say about this one. Look at the texture, the uncooked pork before it hits the pan. The flames on the salad look amazing. Then you take some photos, have some coffee, eat some ramen. This is great too, really good. The dumplings are delicious, and before leaving, I had some sashimi rice before heading back to Hong Kong. Like I mentioned before, sometimes it can be a bit tricky to handle certain things, but actually I tried taking 8 photos here and stitched them together. You can make it this wide. My wife was here and she came over to take a look at everything. Later on, when I did it again, I did a better job because at first I didn't really know how, I didn't have much experience. So this is just to show everyone the view taken from the observation deck. That's all for this sharing today. This Leica Q3 43 camera, it features a high-spec APO optical design plus a 43mm focal length and also a 60 megapixel sensor. Simply put, it's unbeatable. You can easily capture stunning images with it. For this trip, I really feel like I brought the right camera. If you were going on a trip, what camera would you bring? Feel free to leave a comment and let me know. What camera would you bring? If you found my video helpful or enjoyable, please give me a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. Bye bye. Now, after watching my videos for so long, many friends actually don't know that we have a physical store. We carry a full range of Leica lenses and cameras, whether digital or film. As for the lenses, we have R series, M series, in both silver and black. Also, we actually have brand new products as well. If you're interested, you can contact us or come to our store to check things out. Furthermore, we also have a website, so for friends who aren't in Hong Kong, you can visit our website and make purchases directly online.